What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Making Podcasts Great Again. I am your tech stuff guy, Jay Nog, and we are here, of course, with the President of the United States of America, Mr. Donald J. Trump. Mr. President, how are you today?
Well, we're great. We're strong. It's a Sunday. We're recording on a Sunday, but
I was going to say,
I
I'm sorry to take you
decided,
off the golf course.
well, first off is obviously church. So unfortunately for the 9,000th consecutive Sunday, I will be missing church services, and also we'll golf later. Because we got the extra hour. You know how they do the
Mm,
daylight. The daylight we call it daylight theft when they do it in the winter. Everybody calls it savings. It's called theft. And now we have that hour back, and we're doing tremendous work in later, because I can get a tea time anytime I want. So if I say,
right.
you know what, I want 5 p.m., it's still light out. So we're going to do 5 p.m. golf.
I thought you already got a round in. I mean, I thought you'd probably maybe, get up, get a round in at 7 o'clock, and then come do the podcast. But all
You're right,
right.
most days I would, but today, excuse me, I decided I would sleep until
You
a
got to
little
rest. I
later.
hear you.
I
You
had
and Jesus.
last
Got to
night, not to
rest.
tell tales out of school, but I had a tremendous night of prenuptial obligated sex with my
Mm.
wife, Myanmar, and it was exhausting, frankly. I think she's like a lot of people, she's starting to come around on President Trump. She's starting to enjoy I mean, that and me getting her 40 million from Bezos. I think between those two things, she's very excited now. Like, she stays awake during our sex now, which is sort of the passion is back, tech stuff. The passion is back. She's now conscious
I'm so,
when I do sex. When I do sex on top of her, it's a lot of passion.
I'm surprised she's not just holding her phone and looking at her balance on her bank app
I don't know. We used to have a mirror on the ceiling. We now have her bank balance on the ceiling instead.
permanently up there.
We had a very talented painter to just paint her bank balance on the ceiling.
I thought it was a digital screen like the stock market, and you could see it changing and going up and going down.
No, we were old school. We bring in a painter every time, like once a month, we repaint it.
I like that.
Anybody can do digital tech stuff. It takes real
That's true.
wealth and commitment to say, bring the painters back in.
For another Michelangelo on the ceiling.
That's exactly. Well, I think his name is Juan, but
um, Lots of stuff I wanted to talk to you about today, Mr. President. Now, I understand the talks with Putin. How do they go, in your opinion?
I think Putin wants peace. Okay, but he's a strong guy, like I am. I'm a strong guy. And you have
Mm,
to know it takes a strong person to know how to make peace with a strong person because you got to know they want to save face. They call that save face, not look weak, not look like you're
yes.
retreating. So you have to talk strength to strength. And I understand that. He understands me. I think we have a great relationship. And I think we're going to get peace. I think we're going to get peace a lot quicker than people think. So I'm very optimistic, I would say, for a great peace. Not even a good peace, but a great peace.
I think you're in the minority of thinking that
No,
Putin wants
actually, no,
peace.
no,
A
no,
lot of
no, no,
people,
no,
yeah,
no. He's calling me a minority. I'm a clearly white and the least woke, the least DEI president we've ever had. So no, I'm not in the minority.
you're a majority,
I am a majority. I'm a what they call like a shark. I'm a great white.
a great white majority.
No, just a great white. I don't like. I'm sort of a one of one tech stuff, but if I had to be in a group, it would be part of the non-DEI, non-woke white.
That should go on your license.
Right,
How you categorize people.
instead of organ donor, when we're going to go to the DMVs now, and when you fill out a form, you check if you are woke, if you are DEI, because then people could reject you. Imagine you have a strong, proud white person on an emergency room table about to get a liver transplant, and the doctor comes running in and says, "We got the liver." and the family looks at it and says, "This guy is identifies as woke. Why the hell would we want a woke liver?
They
And
just
go
hear
find me a
beep.
non-woke liver." Well, of course, because it's called principles.
That's hilarious. Um, so you think, see, the rest of the world is thinking Putin had a rise to fame in the 90s when all Russia went under, and then he rose to the top. And then since then he's kind of flatlined. And people think right now is his time to make a move and really end on a high note. And you think it's peace, but everybody thinks it's violence and war.
But you can't have peace if you haven't had violence and war.
Okay.
The thing after war is peace. That's why the book was called War and Peace, not Peace and War
Hmm.
or Peace and Peace. I think his name was Tostitos, the Russian writer, Leo Tostitos. He wrote
Something
War
like that.
and Peace. It's called War and Peace, not war and war, not peace and peace, not peace and war. So it's war first. What is it good for? Absolutely nothing except getting peace. And I think that's the way it has to be. And it's interesting because, Putin is sort of following my pattern because I obviously rose with great talent in the 70s and 80s, and now look where I am. And I think Putin sort of sees that and says, "Well, I rose in the 90s, so he's going to sort of become the Trump of he's due, if you do the math, he's sort of due to become the Trump of Russia this decade." So I think we're on a great path of peace, of strength, of energy, cooperation. And I mean, people don't talk about this enough. I'm sorry. Russian whores, or I'm sorry, sex workers. You gotta say sex
Hmm.
workers. Uh, well, I was going to say something else, but the censors might not like it. But the point is, they might be the best in the world. And I think it would be
Wow.
great for us to,
Strong statement. So
well,
something the
I've had
USA
them,
does not win in is what you're saying.
we do okay. We have we do better in terms of the video industry and the downloads and the websites and the hubs. But in
So the
terms of
profession,
just,
yes.
that we're sort of like the TikTokers of porn. Like, oh, we make the good content. But
Hmm.
when you want that great one-on-one live show experience, nothing is better in the world than a traumatized, beautiful, human trafficked Russian prostitute. It's like the veal of sex. It's the trauma, it does something to the hormones and the secretions that the amount of trauma and pain that Russia puts them through, it's premium talent and premium experience.
Well, I appreciate that beautiful review. Um, I wanted to also ask you, you're really testing the law these days, with you not doing the right thing when it comes to getting certain documents signed and handed in on time. Are you
Well, what is this? Is
seeing
this
if
law or
you're
is this homework? You make it sound like school.
are you above the law? Are you testing to see if like how far you can push it before you get in trouble? Because you really can't get in trouble. You're the president. It's really tough to get in trouble unless
It's
you do
called
like
immunity. Thank you,
murder.
Supreme
Yeah.
Court. Thank you, Supreme Court. It's called immunity. No, I think it's what you have to understand, tech stuff is the law is 5'10", okay? And I am 6 foot
Hmm.
4. So I already start out above the law. But when you factor in a president has certain powers and we've allowed courts, unelected judges, just because the Constitution and the law lets them do it, we can't let that be anymore. We have to take a stand against the Constitution, against the laws that allow judges to just tell a president that they can't do something. It's got to stop. It's a reckless and it's frankly destroying our country by stopping me from doing things.
Can any listener please Photoshop the president's face over Steven Seagal's face for the movie poster above the law? I request that. Thank you.
Great guy, Steven Seagal. It's actually pronounced Seagal, by the way.
Oh, is it? You're the only one who pronounces it that way.
Well, for Hollywood, you know how people take fake names sometimes when they become actors.
Yeah.
He was he's a very tough guy, and he broke the necks of three people in Hollywood who called him Steven Seagull because they made fun of him. They were like, Seagull, roar, roar. And then he just did his Aikido and broke their necks. And so we said, why not just change the name to Seagal so that this doesn't happen?
That was his move. If like everyone had a move like in the for 90s action
He
movies,
had
his move
aggressive
was
kung fu
definitely the
jazz
neck
hands
crack. Yeah.
and
It was definitely the neck cracking.
the wrist break.
Wrist
If you
cracking too. Yes.
the key to Steven Seagal, I'm going to call him by his real name. The key because I respect it. The key to Steven Seagal's kung fu Aikido shit was if your bone wanted to go one way, he made it go the other way. That was the whole philosophy is, oh, your elbow bends this way, we're going to bend it the other way. And that was sort of, and it's very painful. I don't know if you've ever seen it. If you break your arm
Yes.
the wrong way, it's very nasty.
Doesn't
And
look fun.
so, but we called him karate jazz hands because he was always just doing this to people.
And then I feel like Jean-Claude Van Damme was known for just the crazy kicks and then the weird screams and bulging eyes and his
And the
the
splits,
screaming.
he did the
Yeah,
splits.
and the
He was
splits
very
too.
flexible,
Yes.
very flexible. Yeah, he's a talented guy. Gene, we call him Gene Claudy.
You have nicknames for everyone you know of.
Well, it's sort
Like you
of
don't even know
the old phrase, nicknames are the spice of life.
Jean Claude. Mr. President, you were also at the NCAA Wrestling National Championships. I didn't know you were a collegiate wrestling fan.
No, it's just when you get to there's nothing more straight and heterosexual that my supporters love than two men in tight singlets
Singlets.
just dry humping each other and screaming and trying to do Greek things to each other. It's so heterosexual. The left hates it. They hate seeing two men just grinding on each other with their penises and their strength and their muscles, and they hate that so much.
I mean, the point of it is you get 2 points for getting the guys back. Like that's the whole point of wrestling.
And
You get the
four
most
points for
points.
penetration.
Is that an added rule? I didn't know about that rule.
No, it's 2 points for it's 1 point for an escape, 2 points for a takedown, 4 points for penetration, and 8 points for full ejaculation while in penetration. I mean, this is sort of classic wrestling rules. It's very straight. It's very popular with my tremendous followers. The manly men who love Trump, they love wrestling. They love seeing that. You should see them screaming out. They're like, come in him, get the 8 points, sir. And it's fantastic. It's a great sport. It's a great sport. It's tough. It's tough. It's manly, and most importantly, it's very straight.
It sounds so straight.
Straight as an arrow,
Well,
right through the keister.
you got to witness one of the biggest upsets in college wrestling history. Two heavyweights, Wyatt Hendrickson faced up against Gable Stevenson, who's a two-time national champion and an Olympic gold medalist. And with, I think, 14 seconds left, took him down, got his back, won by 1 point. Wyatt Hendrickson, what do you think about that match?
I think it was a tremendous match, and I thought, they didn't tell me. Now you said this guy Gable Stevenson. I thought, okay, it's two white guys. There used to be a wrestler, I think, famous. Was there a famous Dan Gable? Was there a Dan Gable
Dang,
in wrestling?
was he a wrestler or a weightlifter? Dan Gable. I think you're right. He was a
American
wrestler.
professional wrestler and coach. He was
Yeah.
a two-time. He's a gold medalist. He's a two-time NCAA champion. So he was a top-tier guy. Dan Gable. I remember hearing this name. So when I saw Gable Stevenson, I said, this guy must be named after him. So I thought, Gable and Wyatt, this has to be a matchup of two heavyweight, we call them heavyweight contenders. And all of a sudden I get there and I say, well, where's Gable? Because Wyatt, obviously, like Wyatt Earp, he's super white. He's a tough white. He's a heavyweight. And all of a sudden I see this Gable Stevenson. I say, oh, this is how they're going to get around DEI and wokeness. They're going to give their woke wrestlers white names so that when you're applying places, you think, oh, this is a qualified person. And obviously, he won his Olympic gold medal probably through diversity, equity, and inclusion. He
Okay.
probably got on the mat and they said, "Oh, sir, we're not even wrestling today. Just give the black a gold medal." That
I don't
stops
know if that's
now,
how it
by the
really
way.
goes, but
No, no, it
maybe it might
actually
have
is
happened
how
that
it
way.
go. It actually, I think we've heard from many people that is what happened. And
Okay.
we used to win gold medals for great talent and great effort, but now they're doing DEI gold medals. And I think you said he was also an NCAA champ.
Yes.
Well, that was before we canceled wokeness and equity and inclusion. So look what happened. Look what happened. All of a
Mm.
sudden, he didn't have wokeness and quotas and diversity, equity, inclusion, and he lost like a dog to a white named Wyatt. Wyatt the White, we call him. And it was a great honor
Does
to
he
see that.
does he
I
enjoy
was,
that nickname?
uh, well, he did a dance with me when I did it, so, but I was disappointed he didn't do full penetration. That's why he would have blown him out if he had gotten full penetration and climaxed for the full 8 points. But he won, and it was great to see because finally we made wrestling merit-based now and not woke.
Well, that's good news. Also, it's hard to get an 8 pointer in the heavyweight division. Those guys are bears. It's really tough to hold that guy down.
Yeah, you got
It's
it. And
definitely
the
challenging.
cheeks are bigger, so when you're spreading the cheeks, it's a lot more meat to spread. Yeah, that's why it's so rare. It's very rare to see the full. They call it the full penetration is the move. Now the lightweights, I mean, it's like every other move is a full penetration, and you just have to. It's a matter of do you have the strength to hold them down and get the full 8 points. But yeah, the heavyweights, it's usually a slower match.
I also noticed you received really well there. People were very happy that you were there. People were going crazy, especially you went with Elon. Elon went with you, and every single winner would pose with the trophy and give you the trophy to pose with pictures. That must feel really good. First thing they did is
Well,
run over to you.
it feels great because if there's one thing uh, brain damaged Midwestern white guys with aggression problems like, it's their president. And so we had 100% approval rating from uh, traumatic brain injury with cauliflower ear wrestlers. So it was
That's
a great
awesome.
honor to see these guys working so hard. Very proud to be an American, where at least I
That's
know
awesome.
I'm free. It was great. We, lo-
Uh,
we love our wrestlers.
we do love our wrestlers. Also, just thank you to all the Perfect Tens for joining us on the last live episode. Join the Patreon, guys. Leave a rating, leave a review. Patreon.com/MPGA. We know we're trying to get the stock market back up. So until it gets back up, leave a rating and review. Go to Spotify, go to iTunes, help us out. Costs nothing. And if you have the extra cash to join the Patreon, hundreds of hours of bonus content. You will not be disappointed if you enjoy the regular episodes. That's patreon.com/MPGA. Mr. President, I heard about this new defense system that you are investing in. I'd like a little more explanation about it. It's called the Golden Dome Defense System. Can you please explain it to our Americans so feel very safe that no one will attack us?
Well, sure, they should feel very safe. We're already safe. Our military is back. We've done tremendous work making our military stronger than ever. In fact, a lot of experts say the military's never been strong, but that's when you have strength, it's you have to double down on strength. And now Israel has something called the
Always.
Iron Dome.
Hmm.
Okay. And I've always, as you know, respected Israel. I love the Jewish people. I love Bibi. I love their strength, their toughness. We support them 100%. But in a competitive style, and I say this with great care because I have nothing but respect for the Jewish people. I thought, what would make Israel Jewish people more jealous than if we had a big dome of gold that both protects us and is worth a lot of money and looks better? It's going to be shaped like my hair, and it's going to cover all red states, not blue states. Blue states are fully exposed to everything. But red states will be covered by a golden dome made of solid gold, reinforced with technology. We're gonna have we're gonna have technology. It's such a great idea. I'm getting emotional. So it'll be a big gold bar, like a gold hair-shaped covering for all red states. But underneath the gold, there will be technology with all the tech, the wires and the
I'll help with
computer
it.
and all the thing, the infrared and the lasers
Yeah.
and just connections and Wi-Fi.
You got to put Wi-Fi in there or it wouldn't be technology.
It'll be high speed,
Of course. Couldn't have a
like
low
very
speed
high,
dome.
like the highest that Verizon provides
That's good.
under
You
the
glad we're not
gold.
going with Spectrum.
Absolutely not. They're traitors. But the gold dome will look nice and it'll cover our red states, but underneath will be a layer of tremendous tech. Okay, with all the wires and the lasers and the Wi-Fi and
What would be
gigabytes.
under the
There's going to be
blue? Under the
gigabytes.
blue, under your hair, under the gold for the blue states. What's underneath it? If technology's
No,
not
no, no,
underneath it,
no.
what's
They're not.
underneath it?
They're not covered. They're not covered even by the hair. They're
Oh, so
completely
it's
exposed.
patches. Gotcha.
It's going to be like
Okay.
it'll be a collection of golden domes forming one big
Oh,
conservative protection golden dome. And then BB will probably, come over to America and see if he can take some of the gold for his country, because he's we
he's
respect the
climbing up
Jewish
on the
people.
dome.
We have great respect for the Jewish people and their talent, and they're great people. But they'll be going after our gold, and I'll say, no, you can't do that. You can't do that, BB. And he'll get jealous and he'll go home and say, we have to upgrade the Iron Dome. And I'll say, well, too bad. We've got the Gold Dome. And it'll be sponsored, of course, by Gold Bond powder.
Ah,
So,
that's
because
great.
we
I
to
like
pay
that
for it,
branding. Of course.
branding and let's go branding and let's have great sponsorship. Why should we pay for it? So we're very excited. I think the Gold Dome will be, and by the way, Notre Dame will
Yeah,
have to rename their Golden Dome.
because you're taking the name Golden Dome.
Their Golden Dome will now be called Catholic Yellow Nipple
I
that
like
they have.
that.
They're famous. It's now the Catholic Yellow Nipple. And we have the Gold Dome, which will protect. By the way, Notre Dame is in Indiana, so it'll be under the protection of the. So I think they'll say,
Thank
"Thank
God.
you, sir. We'll name our dome whatever you want, sir."
I like that. Now, Mr. President, um, you want Boeing to build the new generation of fighter jets, you said. Do you think that's a good idea from the company that there's, I think, three or four whistleblowers came out in the last couple of years of how they produced their jets, and then all of them mysteriously died? Do you think it's a good idea to hire that company?
Well, it wasn't a mystery. I know the executives at Boeing had them murdered, so I don't know why you're calling it a mystery. And that's what you want when you have a company that's
Allegedly,
making
yes,
fighter.
allegedly, Mr. President.
No, no. Well, I heard him tell it to me as himself, so I'm not saying allegedly. But I think what's important about Boeing, okay,
Yes.
which almost sounds like an explosion. Boing. But what I like about Boeing, or it sounds like, that almost sounds like Samsung if he had an airline. Boing. But what's
Like a gong.
important, what's kind of like a gong. What's important about Boeing, if they're willing. It's fighter jets. Okay, tech stuff, fighter
Hmm.
jets. You know what fighter jets are
Yes.
used for? Fighting. Okay?
Fighting. Yes. Hmm.
It's not for show. We're not doing a Sleepy Joe show and tell. We're doing fighter jets for fights. And
Gotcha.
when you have fighter jets, you want killers making them, people who understand death and murder. And who knows that better than the executives at Boeing who've murdered their own employees? That shows they have the right fighting attitude. So they're going to make a great fighter jet. And I was going to use a different company. And then Vlad Putin, who obviously has America's best interest at heart, he actually said to
Of
me,
course.
"What about Boeing? They seem reliable." And I said, "Oh, interesting. You know what? That's a good point. They're an American company, and they are very reliable. Other than all the jets that have crashed and the workers who've been killed, they do. They're a very reliable American company. So thanks to Vlad, who actually gave me some software to give to the executives at Boeing to put into the aircraft. So he's helping us out,
Hmm.
making America great again through strength. We're going to use some of the Russian technology to improve Boeing. And, so I thank Vlad for suggesting Boeing instead of another company for a great fighter jets. So we're going to fight, and we're going to fight stronger than ever with the help of Russian software,
Isn't it
which
odd
we've
that a
not
man
vetted.
who wants such peace wants to help you with fighter jets? It's so strange. You don't think so?
Well, nobody recognizes that we're now friends, and
Mm.
it's called peace through strength. That's peace through strength. We will have peace because people will recognize that together with Russia, we are too strong to fight, and then nobody will fight. It's very simple.
So it's like if the two biggest bullies in the playground leave each other alone and they're uh, just
Oh, we're not leaving.
coexist
No,
with
no.
each other,
We
no
form
one
a
else.
tag. We form a tag team. This is
Oh,
like
it's
if
like demolition.
sergeants. I'll put it into great wrestling terms, real wrestling, not that fake college crap.
Yes,
It's
of
like if
course.
Sergeant Slaughter formed a coalition with Nikolai Volkov or Hulk
What a tag
Hogan.
team.
Hulk Hogan and Nikolai Volkov form a tag team with the Iron Sheik as well. That's what we're gonna do.
I like that. I like that. Seems like nothing could go wrong. Mr. President, I wanted to ask you about two more things, and then I know you're a very busy man. I can let you go. You have an idea here. I love the idea. You want to send American prisoners to foreign prisons. So if they did something bad here, not be in the prison system that we've passed by law and how you're treated, we want to bring them to another country where they don't follow the laws of U.S. prisons.
Or any law, frankly. Uh,
Okay.
we That's why we're working on a deal with a great guy, the leader of El Salvador, who has really
All
straightened
the
that
gang
country
members in
out.
that prison.
We are exactly, and when you're at trial, when you get sentenced to El Salvador, we will be sending you Rosetta Stone, El Salvador gang rape, so you can learn about where you're going and kind of immersive language skills. So we're very excited about this because we have to protect our country, tech stuff. We have to protect, and we have to think outside the box and outside morality and outside humanity and really find,
Hmm.
like, I wanted to send, my original idea was, can't we send some of these people instead of deporting them, just call them the bear from The Revenant and have them just tear up their bodies and eat them? And they said, sir, we don't think they're sure. We don't think that'll pass the courts. And I said, okay, okay, let's go let's send them to gang-infested prisons in El Salvador where there is no law. And they said,
The
that
thing
might
is, in
work,
those
sir.
prisons, I heard they're locked down for like 23 hours a day, and then they're allowed out for like 1 hour to eat. Like they're very strict. So I don't think anything bad would happen to you unless you have a cellmate that likes you.
Well, you know what? Maybe a cellmate was a college wrestler and was getting a lot of eight-pointers. So I'd be careful. I'd be careful. Not too many good guys down there, except, of course, for the innocent people who've been kind of caught up. But we used to have a saying in this country, better for 10 guilty men to go free than one innocent man go to jail. I have a different philosophy, which is better that a million innocent people go to jail if it makes me feel better.
I like that. I like that quote. That should be followed by everyone. But they
Well, I
would
think it
say
is.
if
It is sort
President
of a
Trump feels
philosophy
better,
of
right?
MAGA.
It's not me. If I say it, it wouldn't be me. I feel better. It would say President Trump feels better.
Well,
Correct?
let's be fair. For me, it's me, but for
Right.
my followers, it's we. So I'm included, but they feel better too. So it's
That's
very
nice.
generous of me. I think you'd agree that I include myself in a we.
Extremely.
Remember Nintendo Wii?
Yeah, it had that hot moment at the beginning, and then it kind of lost its appeal. And then they even Nintendo knew it. They were like, "We got to go to the Switch. We got to switch it up because this Wii is not Wii. It's
Oh,
not
like
fun."
Sabrina Carpenter. Left, right. Oh, switch it up like Nintendo. Espresso. Come on, you don't need Sabrina Car. That's a nice.
Nah,
Let me tell you something. Sabrina Carpenter, nice voice and an even cuter person. We like Sabrina
fair.
Carpenter. She's after Jesus, she's my favorite Carpenter. And I might like her better than Jesus. And I think Jesus would say, sure, that's okay. I made Sabrina Carpenter. She's very nice. I agree.
Last thing I want to talk to you about.
By the way,
Uh,
most streamed song of 2024
yeah.
was Espresso by Sabrina Carpenter. Just letting you know, in
Okay.
case you
I
thought I was pulling out some indie artist from a cafe somewhere.
not indie. I'm sure I've heard the song and have ignored it. I I've always bring up conspiracy theories to you sometimes, and you shut them down a lot. But this one has now been proven to not be a conspiracy theory. I think it's the one of the Great Pyramids, Giza, I think it's called. Um,
Isn't he in
un,
Wu-Tang?
uh, the Jizza, just you got to take one
Oh,
letter off.
I did see the wrestling eight pointer, so I respect the jizza as well.
Well, underneath the pyramids, there is this complicated system that goes thousands of feet deep that looks like some sort of energy system. And that this pyramid is not like the other pyramids where they've been inside them where there's lots of hieroglyphics and tombs and decorations. This pyramid is kind of empty and just has tunnels to this system they think it is. And it rewrites all of history. What are your thoughts on this? This is crazy.
Well, I want to meet the people who did this, and I'm going to tariff the crap out of them.
For what?
We got to be energy dominant, and if they found a new energy source, then we want it for national security. And I think I couldn't be clearer. We got to find these people. Some people are saying they're aliens. Some people are saying it's just technology. But either way, we either have to find the aliens, peacefully enslave them and steal their technology, or tariff them, or we need to
Okay.
find the ancient Egyptians wherever they're hanging out and tariff the crap out of them. No more falafel. No more falafel unless we get the technology.
What I'm saying though, isn't this
Halal
crazy
meat,
that
200% tariff on halal meat.
Mr. President, there's only two different scenarios that could be the answer to this energy system. Either that there was technology that is greater than the technology that we have now that existed all that time ago, or it's not humans who have brought this technology to Earth. What do you think it is? Do you think we've had, how history repeats itself? Do you think we've had greater technology into the direction that Elon Musk is going? There was like an Elon Musk of Egypt, and now we're repeating history and getting to that point? Or was it aliens?
A la Musk. Are you saying there was an a la Musk? Well, I think the aliens thing, you never know. You never know if there were aliens. I think, if there are aliens, they would want to come while I'm president because they know how strongly I'm doing. But I think maybe it's just, I think a lot of people like to think about this stuff, and I think they might be wrong. I think they might just be misinterpreting the data. Maybe not. We'll look into it. But either way, I think we have better technology now. I don't think anybody from ancient Egypt has, they had camels. You used camels, okay?
Yes, that's why people think that. the technology, even people saying the technology we had now to even create a pyramid to what they did, were bringing the stones, thousands of pounds of stones, and thousands and thousands and thousands of them to build them that way. We would have trouble doing that now, and how they were cut so perfectly out of the rock, and out of the mountain. I don't know. I think that
We had
you
fewer
might be
keyboard
wrong.
warriors back then. I think people were tougher back then. I think, fewer gender studies majors in ancient Egypt, so they were a lot better with their hands and very tough. And yeah, we have great respect for, and I hope I can meet some of the ancient Egyptians soon.
Very good. I want to ask you one last thing. There was a recent death, boxing great, grill fanatic, George Foreman, recently passed away. The original George Foreman, not the second, the third, the fourth, the fifth, the sixth, or seventh, and there's probably an eighth, but the original George Foreman. Did you know him? Um, how do you feel about this?
I knew George Foreman very well. I would say we were friends. He was obviously a tough guy, but he was so nice. And that's what I try to, he had said to me, "Sir, the only person I know who is both tougher than me and nicer than me at the same time is you, sir." So he paid me that great compliment. But he was a big, strong. I mean, that guy was big and he was strong. He was like Mike Tyson in his day. And then he showed grills. I remember the like MacBook grills. They were like the neon colored. They looked like the Mac computers from like the late 90s. I like
Did
those.
you ever use them? You
It
ever
had the
use it?
bun warmer. Remember the bun warmer? You put it in and it
Of
barely heated
course.
the bun. You're like, what? The
Yes.
bun is like 2 degrees above room temperature. Thanks, George. Uh,
I had the
but it
grill
was
though. You didn't have the grill?
I didn't have the big grill.
Ah,
I got the small
oh
grill.
no. Gotcha.
Just I just like the colors on the bun warmer. So I'd be like, let me put the bun in there, and then we open that up, and it was nice for an intimate evening where you wanted to make 2 hamburgers for yourself. You just had
Of
perfect
course.
amount of hamburger space, but I didn't like how it drained the fat. They always said drain the fat, but then you didn't have the
Hmm.
juices in the burger. You had like a hockey puck. And
Yeah.
but we missed
Didn't always
George. We
come out
missed
how you
George.
wanted it to.
He was a big, strong guy. He made grills, and he was
Good
a
guy.
nice guy. He was nice, and he didn't get too political. We like that. He was one of
Yes.
the. He was, he was. I don't think he was a DEI boxer. I think he really knocked the people out.
Mm, I think he did. Yes, that's what boxing is.
Well, unlike Muhammad Ali, who we have many sources say that he was actually winning by wokeness.
Okay. Mr. President, thank you for joining us on the day of rest. We appreciate you. Um, Also, join the Patreon, people, if you haven't already. You're missing out. Patreon.com/MPGA. Leave a rating and review on Apple, iTunes, or Spotify. Also, if you're interested, I have a new album coming out very soon. Broke Ass Dad. Look for that. Also, I will be in Connecticut on April 29th. I'll be at Rhino's Comedy Club in Suffern on May 3rd, and more dates coming for this summer. Mr. President, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Just a couple of things. This is your president talking. This isn't some other loser that sometimes interrupts me at the end of each show. April 9th, they've demanded me in Toronto. Toronto, as you know, is the centerpiece of a radical left nation that refuses to become the 51st state. And on April 9th at Yuck Yucks, which is how I guess they laugh in Canada, I will be doing a press conference where I will be taking questions and teaching Canadians why they should be grateful to even be asked to be the 51st state. So I will go to the Hockey Hall of Fame during that day and inform them that uh, they should come to the show. And then I will be there answering questions from a bunch of really probably nasty people who live in Canada. So tell anybody you know in Canada. And before then, I'm in Las Vegas, Nevada. Speaking of powerful Russian sex workers, For shows and podcasts on no, March 28th to 29th. So go to, hey, it's me, guys. Sorry, I forgot to bro character. That's me. We'll be in Nevada. That's this Thursday, Friday. Come on out. I'm taking the train across the country, so please make my pain and suffering worth it as I read and watch movies in my little room on Amtrak, chugging across the country like I'm fucking Abe Lincoln in the 1860s. So yeah, that's it. And Rain on Your Parade coming back on my birthday, April 24th. So don't unsubscribe to that or catch up on it. If you never gave it a chance, it's a good show. It's on my YouTube channel and it's everywhere you listen to podcasts. So that's coming back April 24th. Beyond that, hope to see. Please spread the word about Vegas, spread the word about Toronto, and talk to you next week.